Right, okay, so I'll just kick off now to talk about the Asian millennial market. And when I refer to the word millennials, as you'll be very aware of, I'm referring to any guy and girl born between 1980 through to the 2000s. So let's just start off by saying that the Asian millennial market is the world's singular biggest market. It accounts for almost 60% of the world's millennials. The millennials in Asia account for 60% of the world's millennials from around the world. And China alone has about 415 million millennials, which is greater than the working population of the USA as well as Western Europe. The average annual income will double from roughly $5,900 to, in 2014, I'm just going to shift over, as some of you want to take notes, $5,900 in 2014 to $13,000 in 2024. So it is a market that is certainly with very high growth of income there. And also, there's a combined annual income of $5.4 trillion, which is double the GDP of the UK. India itself has 440 million millennials, which is roughly about 35% of the population. And Asia income growth will be 4.2%, while global real wage is increasing by 2.5%. So you can see the rapid growth of income versus that's happening in Asia versus what's happening all around the world. Now, the thing about millennials, as is generally the phenomenon around the world, is that they're not engaged in the process of acquisition, unlike our parents, as well as our people from a lot of our generation, where purchasing a house is a trophy as well as purchasing a car. They're very more concerned about acquiring experiences and collecting memories. But also, that's got to do with the fact that the housing market in Asia has really exploded, and a lot of them can't even afford to purchase houses anymore. From a home standpoint, 65% of them do actually aspire to own homes, whereas 63% of them actually live with their parents, compared to the 49% average of people all around the world, just due to the high property prices as I mentioned before. An interesting phenomenon also within the food industry in Asia is that fast food such as McDonald's and KFC is actually on the decline right now, with many McDonald's and KFC franchises actually closing. What's rising are the fast casual restaurants, such as the Shake Shacks of the world, where the food is a lot more Instagrammable. A Shake Shack burger versus a Big Mac is certainly a lot more Instagrammable. And casual dining as well as fine dining, what we're seeing is that there's actually a decline in fine dining in Asia, simply because of the market, because the millennial market is actually fueling and demanding a lot of growth within that particular segment. Now, McDonald's had a negative growth in 2015, whereas fast casual had a growth of 9%. And the reason why I'm going into the food industry, which has some similarities to the tech industry, is that, as I was saying, Yum Brands, which is Pizza Hut as well as McDonald's, a lot of their stores and franchises have closed. And a lot of the franchise owners are trying to sell out in hope that other people will buy their businesses. Now, what millennials want is greater, better quality at lower prices. Now, Mondelez also suffered a huge setback with its Oreo launch, with its Oreo product. But then after that, Asians being a lot more savvy with the food that they're consuming, they ended up launching Oreo Thins with lower calories. And that put them back in good and grossed them $60 million worth of sales. So there is that level of consciousness now in Asia about better quality, about better food, about better products, about better technology. And also, when we talk about still talking about the food industry, is that higher restaurant chains owned by Watami, they actually remodeled 76 of their existing stores, izakaya stores, for lower priced chains, which means that that particular segment, which is for the mid to upper, is actually being remodeled to suit the millennial market that can't afford that particular segment. The thing about millennials is that they certainly are a lot more educated than their parents, and so can make a lot more educated decisions, consumption decisions. Also, they're a lot more digitally savvy. A lot of them are growing up in not only mobile-first markets, but mobile-only markets. A lot of them have leapt from agriculture, from farming, from villages, straight onto mobiles. Whether they are smartphones or not, or just feature phones, a lot of them have leapt from nothing to phones. Whereas we've had the migration from desktops through to phones, etc. Also, they have a wealth of product information online. So they're now accessing and making a lot of their decisions based on a lot of the information that they're gaining online, just like millennials and ourselves also. So their decisions are a lot smarter. They often overlook slogans as well as taglines. Now, here's the thing, is that a lot of foreign brands come into Asia and they have their own particular their taglines and their slogans. But Asians, millennials in particular, are starting to become really smart and deconstruct a lot of those slogans and really challenging and questioning what they actually mean and if they are actually true to their brand, to their brand statement. And their research skills get to the heart of the product. So they're not just buying into brands because some marketing director is throwing a lot of money at the problem, at the situation, or at the opportunity, but they are actually researching a lot of the skills before they acquire a particular product. Also, they engage with online reviews and social media influencers before purchasing. Social media influencers, key opinion leaders, they can really often make or break your brands. And it's not really just the celebrities with 1 million or thousands of followers that matter. It's those key opinion leaders that may not have a lot of followers, but have a lot of weight in the particular market, whether it's got to do with tech, whether it's got to do with food or fashion. Some of the most influential people don't have a lot of followers, but then those celebrities and those key opinion leaders will actually pick up on what the trend is and then pass it on to their followers. In a sea of good online reviews, one bad comment can really kill your brand. And what we found is that with the Asian millennials is that they can be actually quite unforgiving. If they read particular reviews on your particular product, on your particular service, and they don't like what they do, there may be a lot of good comments, but there is one particular bad comment that may actually stick and actually break the deal. Asian millennials spend about 2.8 hours per day on their smartphones, and so mobile optimization and content is vital. Now, there's a lot of brands and startups out there that are launching to the Asian market, and they're bypassing anything web-related, and they're going straight to mobile. Because most of all online surfing that happens in Asia is actually is mainly done on mobile. So many companies are actually leapfrogging the web process. Now, Thai millennials spend about 4.2 hours per day versus Japanese millennials who spend about 1.6 hours per day. And I'm actually racing through this right now simply because I've been told that we've got a very short amount of time per day. And 46% of time is spent on social media versus 42% watching videos and 12% shopping. That's quite similar to what's happening in Western markets also. Now, older Asians only spend about 1.8 hours on their mobile, but are still very influenced by traditional media such as television, radio, and print advertising. And what we've got to do as marketers is just think about the message and medium, as well as ensure that the content is interesting and shareable. What's really working in Asia is content that is not so polished, is not so Procter & Gamble-ish polished to the nth degree, but very rough. That's actually a lot of the viral videos that are going out there are not so polished. Asian millennials also, as I was saying, like to investigate claims that the big brands are claiming. Also, they improve how brands sell and how brands operate by pushing brands and ensuring that they are legitimate and that they are true to their words. Also, is that brands have to make sure that they are more than just their marketing, that they are also their operations and that they are true to what their CSR and mission and vision is. And I'm just being asked to wrap up. And also, an important note is that the West and Western brands are no longer the complete compass for Asian brands, whereas they were about 5 or 10 years ago. A lot of Asians are turning to Asian brands in South Korea as well as Japan. And also that Asian parents work very long hours, and Asian millennials do look to celebrities as well as entrepreneurs, as well as famous figures and brand leaders for a lot of moral guidance, etc. They don't have bank accounts often, but they do have a Facebook account. And what they'll do is that if you don't fulfill your promise, they will call you out on social media. Just 2 final points is that religion is a major component of factor in Asian millennial life, and religion does drive a lot of consumption, given that it's very diverse, whereas Philippines has about 90% Roman Catholic, Indonesia is about 90% Islamic, Thailand is about 85% Buddhist. Also, they enjoy celebrities, but they trust entrepreneurs, religious leaders, and prominent figures. Just one final note is that Asian millennials, as a general summary, they're very social, so they do like to share. They are very skeptical, though, and they are always constantly seeking role models. So if you can feel some elements of that within your particular brand or within your brand ambassadors, you're on the right track. So I'm sorry I had to race through that because I've got a 10-minute time limit, but I hope you gained just some value of the Asian millennial market. Thank you very much.